Hey, Darksteel here, and welcome to our second ever edition of Prepper Friday. Today we're going to talk about the importance of symbols in the development of culture. If you haven't seen my first video, you might go check that out. It covers a lot of stuff that we're going to cover in this rant, but it's not entirely necessary. These are meant to be standalone. But also, before you click out of here because I'm talking too much, a little later in the video, we're going to do a new thing that I'm going to start doing every week, which is our prepper tip of the week, and this is going to be just a little something that I think you might like. So anyway, I'm going to get right into it, and I thought that we would do the cultural importance of symbols. I mean, symbols as in a throne, a crown, badges, rather as a sign of office or as a reward, a desk in an office, any kind of symbol that shows a difference between one person or another, or that gives you a feeling of tradition, a feeling of importance in one way or another, and that's what we're going to get into today, is how that plays into culture. So first off, we're going to go right over here. We're going to go straight over to Wikipedia, which we've done the search for symbol here, and we'll just start right up here at the top. A symbol is a mark, sign, or word that indicates, signifies, or is understood as representing an idea, object, or relationship. Symbols allow people to go beyond what is known or seen by creating linkage between otherwise very different concepts and experiences. So I want to go into the symbological importance of a throne or a robe or a badge or whatever it is to show station, because this is important. If we're talking culture, the first thing we have to do, and I've said this in my last Friday, I said that we've got to keep in mind who the leader is. Well, people are fickle. People change day to day based on feeling, based on whim, and people forget. Kind of an ADD kind of situation. People forget what it is that we talked about. So if we all have a communication, we're all understanding it, by the time we walk away, we've already started the process of scattering those thoughts to where when we're far away from each other, maybe a few days from now, whatever, we're going to all come back to that same thought in a different way, with a different perspective, and that's where misunderstandings can lie. Even at that, remembering psychologically doesn't mean that you remember emotionally. So just because you agree that somebody, like on a logical basis, just because you agree that that they are the right leader, you're like, okay, yeah, this system makes sense. Doesn't mean you're going to feel that way in a couple of days when they tell you to do something and you don't really want to. This is where the importance of, and our ancient ancestors knew this, this is where the importance of a symbol that can be seen readily lies. This is where you need to have that symbol already. And people, I know a lot of people don't like the ceremony. A lot of people don't like the, well, I don't want to portray myself as too over the top. Yes, you do. If you're going to be the leader of your group, yes, you do. You want to be visually different, so that when people look around, see all those heads in the crowd, you stand out. And this is because that gives your people the ability to spot their leader, to respect their leader, and to build an emotional attachment to the concept of following that leader. If you just look like everybody else, the question eventually rises, why should I follow you instead of anybody else? Why shouldn't I be the leader? So there is actually something in portraying yourself through forms of wealth or power or whatever. And I know that to an American that sounds very very wrong, because we're taught everybody's equal, everybody's the same. Well, if everybody's the same and we're all leaders, then nobody's leading anybody. We're all going in separate directions, and that's where the fabric of society breaks down. We need to see above us somebody more powerful. And you do, every day. If you work in an office, you've got a manager. If you, hell, if you work at McDonald's and you've got a manager. Anybody working at any in any job where there's somebody ahead of them, there is some sort of symbol, maybe it's a corner office, maybe it's a different colored vest, whatever. There's some symbol to show you that they're ahead of you. So when we put it in words, it sounds very foreign to an American because we like to think of everybody as equal. But when you put it in actual concept, we're already following this system. This is already a system that's in place. And I'm just saying that if you're trying to lead a group, you need to think about how you're going to put this system in place for your group, because there's a reason for it. There's a reason why it exists, and that is to remind people who the leader is. Very important. Again, you might go back and check out my other one if you haven't already, because we've gone over all this. We went over how it could turn deadly, how it could turn dangerous for your group to start to question things like who's leading, who to follow, everything like that. And that's where you could put it in, because if you walk... Okay, here's the deal. I just said, the system is comfortable, but the words are not. So if you walk around saying, I am your leader, you need to follow me, the average American is going to say, fuck you. They are not going to listen to that. And the reason for this is because that is the cockiness that we all have just in us, is this idea that if somebody says it, then that makes you smaller, and you need to stand up and be bigger. But if they don't say it, if you just see it through action, through symbol, through a feeling, then you accept it. You fall in line. Because that wasn't a directed insult towards you. That wasn't directed at you. That's just a vague, this is the way it is. So you accept that. Well, leaders, this is important. Because if you walk around saying, I'm your leader, follow me, you're not going to get very far. If you show them that you are their leader, they'll start to follow. Without even having to have that conversation, they will follow you. Okay, now let's step away from leaders for a minute. Let's think about that other form of badge, the other form of important symbol, which isn't just associate. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. It's kind of saying if you've got this, then you're better than the other ones who don't have this. So that's kind of why it's an important reward system. But let's think about it as rewards, not as a badge of station. We have in Boy Scouts, we have in video games, we have in the actual military, we have badges, rewards, this idea that something that means nothing unless you're in this situation. I mean, if it's a little iron-on patch that you got, that has no actual financial value. That does not change your life in any way. But you feel accomplishment, and it is a representation of that accomplishment. So let's think about badges. Let's think about simple rewards that cost the leader little to nothing to create, but what it buys them is more important than if they were just paying with cash. So let's go over here to our screen, and I've pulled up this thing. It says, this is growthengineering.co.uk, and this is the psychology of badges and motivation. If you've played any kind of video game, you've probably received a badge for completing a level, killing a baddie, getting a higher score, or creating the perfect town. Badges have long been used to represent achievements in the video game world. Whoa. Okay. Chair just kind of dropped on me. Yeah, I think it's fine. Okay, moving on. As far as social media goes, you may already be familiar with the badges awarded on Foursquare, although this is sadly no longer gamified, and Wikipedia. These badges motivate and engage users to continue interacting with the platform in the same way as badges, achievements, and points motivate learners to interact with their learning management system. What is it all about? Little virtual artifacts that do nothing more than represent the completed action that causes users and learners to react in these ways. In other words, what is the psychology of badges? We came across a really great research paper on this topic, and there seems to be, if you click here, it'll actually take you to that research paper. And I'm not going to do that now, but I will post a link for this so you can go ahead and do this yourself and read up a little bit more. Badges are fun and interesting. Could it be that badges break up the monotony of everyday actions enough to motivate us to strive for more? No, we don't think so, and neither do Anton and Churchill. Instead, they suggest that it's because of the following points. Goal setting. Anton and Churchill argue that perhaps the most obvious function of badges is a goal setting device. Goals keep us focused on what we need to achieve, and badges challenge us. Reputation, status, and affirmation. Everyone likes to be thought of as an expert, and what better way to prove this than by showing off your trophy cabinet full of badges? In this way, badges can be motivating as success symbols. Yeah, so anyway, so I'm going to, like I said, I put the link to both of these in the description below. You can click on them and do a little reading of your own. If you have different thoughts on this or any of the other things that I've talked about, if you have maybe even links to other articles or anything, or you just want to expand on the subject, go ahead and put all of that down in the comment section below. I want to use Prepper Fridays as kind of a forum for us to all just kind of start the conversation about our own survival, about the fundamentals of building a society, and whatever else you might take from it. Anyway, as promised, I think we'll move on into our little prepper tip of the week, and then I'll probably let you guys go. One of the fundamentals of survival is going to always be starting a fire. This is for keeping warm, this is for cooking your food, this is for a number of different reasons. It can even be used as a tool. But not everybody has the skill to start a fire without using their little Bic lighter. Now, I know that a lot of preppers out there already know basically anything I'm going to say, and probably more. And again, post down in the comments below if you know something better. I got these little magnesium fire starters at Harbor Freight, and they're great if you want to spend half an hour scraping magnesium off of it with a little metal stick, and that gets really tedious. That works, and it's a survival skill because the magnesium fire starters are great because it lets you use it even if it's wet. So it still works even if it's gotten wet, and that's good. That's not the case with everything. That's not even the case with what I'm about to show you, which is why I put it in a little Ziploc bag and then gone one step further and put it in a good pill container that has the threaded top without the little holes all around there, so that it's nice and tight in there. But my magnesium fire starter actually fell apart, and what I was left with is this little flint stick, the little starter. And I took a little hacksaw blade, or you can just use the one that came with the magnesium fire starter. And instead of working with the tedious magnesium, I went ahead and got something that you can purchase for very, very, very cheap, and then you can even grow later on if you have to rely on growing it, which is cotton. First, I'm going to pull the cotton ball apart a little bit. Let's keep that from flying away on me. I'm going to pull that apart a little bit so that it's just a little frayed. And I'm going to set that down in there. Now you're going to want to get this down onto that because you don't want to hold it up here. You're going to be striking and striking, and we need to make this last as long as we can. It wears away a little bit every time you do this. And I'm just going to do... Look at how quickly that started. And I have started the fire in my house that keeps my house warm with this method. You can light this, and then you can carry it off to somewhere else to keep your fire going. But right now that still has an active flame on it, so if you build your tinder up from there, you can build a small fire very, very simply. And that one took 3 strikes. I've gotten it to do it with 1 strike before. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. So that's all I've got for you today, and like I said, be sure to carry this conversation on down into the comments. Tell me if I did something wrong, tell me if I did something right, tell me what your thoughts are. Let's all help each other by expanding knowledge. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm not claiming to know more than anybody else. I am just bringing discussions to the table. Let's take them from there. Go ahead and like this video if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Also check out Dark Steel Knives. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.